Now, I did think that the film had a couple of specious leaps in it. Now, first of all, I do think it's important for our audience to know that in Georgia, Arizona, North Carolina, and Michigan, specific people can collect ballots. And in Wisconsin, it's unspecified in the law. And in Pennsylvania, it has to be chosen by the voter. So in a lot of those cases, not these people that you're calling mules, and you made the reference to drug mules, which is an illegal practice, some of this is actually legal, correct?
Wrong. Here's the point. You're talking about vote harvesting, and there's actually a subtle but critical difference between vote harvesting and ballot trafficking. Now, there are about 26 states in the country that allow some form of vote harvesting. California, for example, allows you or me to give our ballot to anyone and say, hey, you go drop it off, and that's allowed. Now, in the states that we're looking at, vote harvesting is much more restricted. So let's look at Georgia. If you look at the Georgia law, it's very clear. You can give your ballot to a family member, or you can give your ballot, if you're in a caregiver facility, you can give your ballot to a caregiver. But the point I want to make is once you pay a mule, once money enters into the ballot delivery process, the vote is automatically corrupted, and that is illegal in all 50 states. In California, if I were to say to you, go drop off my vote and I'm going to pay you $50 to do it, that's a fraudulent vote that cannot be counted. So what we're describing in the movie, all those mules, all that balloting is illegal.
Right. So that was, I think, one of the things that I didn't think, and Vince, maybe you can, maybe you had a different view of it, but when I saw it, I didn't feel like the money connection was strongly established. Now, you mentioned people like Mark Zuckerberg, you know, possibly being behind funding this. Is that a fair characterization?
Yeah, I'm not implying, I mean, we want to be really clear here, because what we're doing in the movie is we're sort of working our way backward, right? We're starting with the mail-in drop box. We're saying, where did these mules get their ballots? Well, they seem to have got them from these left-wing organizations. Now, by the way, True the Vote, the research organization that did this work, they have a list of all these organizations. I've seen them. We didn't put them in the movie in part because it's movies can only do so much. But True the Vote is happy to turn over that list to the FBI or to the authorities. I think
that's really important, though, to establish the money part, because as you said, ballot collection is actually legal in a lot of these states. So the money element is the important one. Well, and that's where I think you were lacking when you're talking about Mark Zuckerberg and the SEIU.
You're talking, we're confusing two different types of money. No one denies that the mules are being paid. We have whistleblowers who said that they got $10 a ballot. We have mules who are taking photos of themselves as they drop the ballots in. By the way, not selfies, not one of those I voted photos, but they're taking photos of the ballots going into the drop box. Now think about it. Who does that? Who takes photos of themselves putting in 5 or 10 ballots into a drop box? I think when you see the movie, you begin to get the clear sense that what's going on is not only illegal, but it's criminal.
That part. Okay. That part, I agree.
Vince.
That part, I agree, Dinesh. It's very suspicious. It's very strange to take a picture of the box and not the selfie where people are proud they voted, that kind of thing. But here's the thing, and
but not established. That's my
that's
thing.
right. Not
proven. I think it's fine to say, okay, this looks suspicious.
Yes.
But to at the end of the film, and I don't want to give the film away, but at the end of the film, Dinesh is clear. This election was stolen. Now, again, and I just want to say really quickly that you mentioned the True the Vote people, and I believe Catherine Engelbrecht, I hope I said her name correctly, in the film, but she actually is quoted as saying, there's no way to know who these votes were cast for, as did Seb Gorka actually said it in the film as well. So we don't actually know that this was some Democrat conspiracy. And a lot of what you named in the film, you actually were talking about Republicans who were committed these acts, like in the 9th District of Georgia, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. And in a couple other cases that I could probably name, Miami-Dade, where they were switching people's party affiliation and going after the vulnerable people who spoke English as a second language. I think that it's just not it doesn't have the smoking gun that it claims to have. That was my issue with it. And I think, just as a critique, Dinesh, just real quick, and I'm sorry, Vince, I know I'm kind of taking up your time, but just as a critique, I think if you had framed this film as this is about democracy, this is about fairness of elections, not about this is the Democrats stealing elections, maybe people like me could have been swayed like, hey, maybe we need to shore up certain things with our election laws. Maybe there are things that need to be done, but you made it a finger pointing exercise without really clearly establishing some of these links that you claim to have. And that was my issue with the film. Sorry, Vince, I just had to get that out.
I'll let Dinesh respond to you first, and then I want to get into some of these points.
Yeah, you've raised so many issues. I'm a little unsure where to begin, but look, we do trace a money trail in the film, money flowing to nonprofit groups coming from left-wing donors, billionaires, foundations, and so on. Here's the point. Nonprofit groups, many of them, by the way, 501c3 organizations, are forbidden by law from engaging in explicit electioneering. They can, in a generic sense, sort of exhort people to vote, but you can't run a partisan vote collection operation for any particular candidate or party. Now, what is the way? I can't think of a way that 400,000 legal votes would somehow magically end up with these left-wing organizations embedded in cities like Atlanta or Phoenix or Milwaukee or Philadelphia. So these are left-wing organizations hiring left-wing Antifa-type operatives to deliver these votes in the middle of the night. I don't somehow think that these are likely to be Trump votes. So I don't think it's a big leap. Now, what Catherine Engelbrecht said, which is true, is that as a clinical matter, you cannot go back and retrieve those votes. Why? Because when a mail-in vote comes in, it comes in an envelope, and the only name and signature is on the envelope. So the moment that you take the ballot out of the envelope, you've separated the two pieces of evidence and they can't be reconnected. So that's what she was referring to by saying that in that sense, you can't go back and sort of reverse engineer the process.
Yeah.